Is this seat only for the rich? The question landed softly, almost politely, yet it struck him harder than any boardroom confrontation ever had. The CEO looked up from his untouched cup of coffee. The Christmas Café tilde copyright was warm and glowing, wrapped in golden lights and evergreen garlands, the kind of place where laughter usually came easily. But he had chosen the corner table, the one meant for couples and families. Even though he sat alone, outside, snow fell gently, turning the city into something kinder than it usually was. Inside, a poor girl stood beside his chair, clutching a thin jacket that was clearly not made for winter, her fingers red from the cold, her eyes carrying a mix of fear and courage. People around them felt quiet. Some pretended not to notice. Others watched with curiosity, already deciding how the moment would end. The CEO hesitated, something unfamiliar tightening in his chest. "Why do you ask?" he said at last. The girl swallowed, "Because every other table said they were waiting for someone, and the man at the door told me to try my luck." She glanced at the empty chair. "I don't want to bother you. I just a broken bar. It's warm here." He gestured to the chair without thinking. "Sit." She froze, as if afraid the offer might disappear if she moved too fast. Then she sat, perching on the edge, hands folded neatly in her lap. Up close, he could see she was younger than he first thought, maybe 12 or 13. Her hair was neatly braided, but frayed at the ends, like someone had tried very hard with very little. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "I won't eat much. I just want to rest for a minute." The CEO nodded, still trying to understand why her words felt heavier than they should. He had closed billion-dollar deals without blinking, fired people with a practiced calm, walked away from friendships he no longer had time for. Yet this small girl asking for warmth had unsettled him in seconds. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lena," she replied. "What's yours?" He almost smiled. No one ever asked him that anymore. "Daniel." A waitress approached, uncertainty written across her face. "Sir, is everything okay?" "Yes," Daniel said firmly. "Please bring her a hot chocolate, and something to eat." Lena shook her head immediately. No, I didn't ask for a." "I know," he interrupted gently, "but I want to." The waitress nodded and left. Lena stared at the table, her eyes suddenly glossy. "Thank you," she whispered, as if gratitude itself were too fragile to say out loud. They sat in silence for a while. Daniel noticed how she wrapped her hands around the mug when it arrived, as though she were afraid the heat might escape. He noticed how carefully she ate, small bites, savoring each one, like someone who didn't know when the next meal would come. "Do you come here often?" he asked. She shook her head. "First time. I usually stay near the station, but the night a broken bar, it's Christmas." The word carried weight. Daniel felt a memory stir, his mother hanging lights in a small apartment, humming while counting coins to see if they could afford a tree. He hadn't thought about that in years. "Where's your family?" he asked. Lena's smile didn't reach her eyes. "It's just my mom and me. She cleans offices at night. She didn't want me walking home alone in the snow, so she told me to wait somewhere warm." This place looked at a broken bar safe. Daniel looked around at the decorations, the polished tables, the quiet luxury. Safe, for him, it always had been. "Does she know you're here?" he asked. Lena nodded. "I told her I'd be okay." A group at the next table whispered, their glances sharp and judgmental. Daniel saw it, and something inside him hardened. He leaned back, suddenly aware of how powerful he looked in his tailored coat, how easily people assumed he belonged everywhere. "Lena," he said, lowering his voice, "why did you think this seat was only for the rich?" She hesitated. "Because people like me usually get told where we don't belong before we're told where we do." The words stayed with him, echoing. When they finished eating, Daniel stood and held out his coat. "Come on," he said. Her eyes widened. "Where?" "To the counter. I'm getting you something." She followed him cautiously. He bought her a warm scarf, gloves, and a small bag of pastries to take home. When he handed them to her, she looked up at him like he had just changed the rules of the world. "You didn't have to," she said again. "I know," he replied, "but maybe that's the point." Outside, the snow had thickened. Daniel walked her toward the station, the city glowing around them. When they reached the entrance, Lena stopped. "My mom will be here soon," she said. "I should wait." Daniel nodded. For a moment, Neither of them spoke. "Daniel?" she said softly. "Are you rich?" He laughed quietly, surprised by the honesty of the question. "Yes, very." She thought about that, then smiled. "You don't sit like someone who's rich inside." The words struck deeper than any compliment he had ever received. "Lena," he said, "what do you want to be when you grow up?" She shrugged. "Someone who doesn't have to ask if a seat is for people like me." He crouched down so they were eye to eye. "You deserve every seat in the world," he said. "Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." Her mother arrived moments later, worry etched into her tired face. When she saw Lena safe and warm, relief washed over her. Daniel introduced himself simply, without titles. He pressed his business card into the woman's hand. "If you ever need help," he said, "call me." She looked at the card, then at him, disbelief and hope fighting in her eyes. "Thank you," she said, her voice breaking. As Daniel walked away, something inside him shifted. For the first time in years, he felt lighter, as if he had left more behind than money. Weeks later, the cafe tilde copyright gained a quiet reputation. People noticed the corner table was often occupied by someone who looked out of place and someone who made space anyway. A scholarship fund appeared in Lena's name, then another, and another. Daniel still went to the cafe tilde copyright, but he no longer sat alone. And if this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that kindness doesn't check bank balances, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this matter because people like Lena exist everywhere, waiting not for charity but for a place to belong.